Yeah, I don't even wear.
So this is class 21.
Really?
So we are officially all setting the intention to bring the tribe into the chamber tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's right.
Okay.
But let's get the most important group of people out of the thing first. So we'll get the tribe in the chamber. The tribe is going to win the World Series. They don't have to win it tonight.
Yes, they do.
We're giving,
Why limit ourselves?
but they do have to.
They will. They will.
Here,
You know,
just use the second one.
We don't have to limit
We
it to
can,
tomorrow night, but win tonight.
We can fully accept them winning tonight. That's fine with us.
Yes. Good old CK, he's my friend now, I call him CK.
Oh, yeah.
Because of course he was hard to say.
You guys are close.
He won't let anything bad happen tomorrow. I'm trusting him, so.
I don't know the name of any of
I
our
think
players.
it's, I think it's back. I think they're back.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
It's gonna be over
All of them.
It will
for
be.
us all.
Only one I
very
know
soon,
is Jay.
so.
Every day.
CK, my buddy.
All right, well, I guess we'll, get the party started. So we'll, do our normal review. Actually, one of my favorites.
I know, I'm like,
Someone
yeah.
needs.
We are so ungrounded, yeah.
Wait for time.
Yeah, business.
Oh, yeah. Did you bring your fun stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
Y'all gonna take me away?
Sure, do you want a song or do you want a flute?
How about both?
Flute?
Flute while you sing?
Well, I think
Sorry?
Flute while you sing?
I think it's a flute night.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
How awesome is this? That we can suggest. This is beautiful. Great. last class, we were dealing with attention, paying attention, prioritizing, taking time to prioritize what's really important, what's really a necessity. Attention deficit issues, what we actually attend to, stagnate the healing process. When we're going in too many directions at one time, it creates confusion in the brain about priorities. When the brain loses a sense of priority, it can't focus on one thing that's most important. Focus points. My life is to do what I need to do, obviously. We know we're eternal, we're not denying that. But we're here to stay alive in our form as long as we're meant to stay alive in our form. The best chance to do that is to stay focused and balanced. So we're here to stay alive, we're here to be healed. To be healed, we need to be in a relaxed but focused state. One pathway to this is stillness. We practice stillness, we switch our focus to healing. We can have very tangible experience with God. Again, for those who might just watch the one show, for us, God is the force and source of all creation, the oneness of all things, the fabric of which we are all made of. It is what we are, and we are what it is. When we become conscious enough to know that and really fully embrace it, there is no possibility of duality. There is only the reminder of unity. We abandon the delusion of choice, embrace the truth of choiceless surrender, then we get out of our own way and allow innate healing to occur in order to be restored. If you start practicing this, bring stillness to bring focus to healing, you will then come very close to the intimate contact with the force and order of life. We know we need to set aside time to be still. Okay? I'll begin to correct my priorities to what I need to stay alive and heal. What changes did I make? What experience did I? What difference did I experience? So this isn't one that I can really talk on because I have very surrendered in my practice of stillness. So I do a great degree of stillness all the time, and then when I'm with people, I have to practice being still. So I want somebody else to talk about what they've done or what their experiences have been, or anyone else who's ventured into that space who wants to talk about that. Has everyone avoided that place of stillness?
I like going to the lake.
Okay.
I go to the lake as often as I can. I just love being there and have meditations there and just all the energy and get a different picture every time you go and all the colors of the trees and the smells and the birds singing and it's wonderful. It's just very special. So I go there quite a bit.
What about that situation do you think? You talked about some of the sensory experiences, but what about that experience helps you come to the place of stillness that we're talking about, the inner stillness? What do you feel that experience does for you that helps you get to that space?
Even on the ride to the lake, I'm already beginning the phase of stillness, and then usually do a little meditation there. And it's just even knowing I'm going to the lake, the stillness has already begun, and it's just, I was there once for many sunrises and sunsets, but particularly this one morning for a sunrise. So the sun is just starting to come up, and the waves are still gently lapping back and forth, and then you have the geese, there, and then you have little squirrels and chipmunks running by you, and other birds are singing, they say good morning to each other, and you feel the breeze on your face. It's just wonderful.
So would you say that experience helps you get fully present?
Definitely.
Okay. Okay. So nature only lives in one moment. That's the present time. So that's the mystery and the magic of being one with nature. It demands you to be present. Now, nature demands all creatures that naturally live within it to be present in the perfect sense, because one, their life depends on it. Okay, so if you're a chipmunk, you better be present. If there's something trying to kill you, there's also, you better be present, because that's going to give you the most information about what's going on around you. A sound you hear, a breeze, something you smell, they're very much in the moment. Okay, plants are the same way. Okay? They're very present with what's happening, because what's happening is directly feeding their just separated ourselves. So when you feel differently than you normally feel when you go to nature, it's a wonderful indicator of how far away you are from the present time consciousness. When you get into a nature situation, you feel pretty much the same way you're feeling all the time. It's a good gauge, it's a natural measurement of, I feel the way I feel when I'm in nature. That means you're cultivating a space of nature within you. You're coming to peace with the elements that are existing in nature, with the wind, the light, the air, the water elements. You're coming to peace with what you really are inside. So even if you can't get into nature outside, when you get into that stillness and balance inside of you, you're embracing the true nature of your being, okay? Which is the nature of nature.
Something I've been doing, I've been wanting to like go deeper into the stillness, so I've been doing the tank like at least once a week, and this last time I was so fortunate I got to do it for 2.5 hours, and losing like it for me, staying in there long enough, I don't even feel my body anymore. And then when we talk about that state of not needing to breathe at the bottom of our expiration, that happened many times just on its own, and it was just going much, much deeper into a stillness that I experience every day, because any of the outside world sounds, sights that could be a distraction are just eliminated.
That's right.
And yeah.
It's incredible too. Sarah, what were you going to say?
I've been working on a stillness meditation daily for a while. That's why I was so amazed when I read, because I was doing this and then I read the homework and I thought, my God. But when I go there, which I do in nature really well, but I've also been just doing it in my house, I've been including, I feel like I'm losing my individuality and there's no duality at all. It's not just everyone, but everything, the whole universe.
That's it.
It's it. And I feel like I'm actually falling into this all-inclusive oceanic place. And it comes from stillness and from light, like you talked about. So, yeah, I'm really right there.
It sounds familiar. Does that sound you what we were talking about? So, if you were unable to set aside time and make a beginning, what got in your way of your stillness practice? What got in the way of stillness? Can you give us some input on that? Just an example. What did you experience getting in the way of you making time to do these things? Yeah.
I'm not very good at self-care. I'm not very good at doing what I know I could be doing for myself. And so I don't know how it's like I never get to it. I'm always too busy. And that's baloney. But that's my story. And I keep telling myself this story, and I'm not even conscious, but 4 days will go by and I'll go, wow, I never had any, sitting down quiet time. And so what my question is why it feels not self-destructive, but it feels like I stop myself, and I don't know why.
Okay, so can I offer you an insight on that?
Absolutely.
Okay. The reason that's happening is because you're not truly embracing the importance of it. Okay, it's just simply that. It's not important. It's not important. Consciously, of course it's important, but your story, like you talked about, that's all just coming from an unconscious pattern. It's a chatter pattern, okay? And so all it wants to do is propagate itself. So if you start to genuinely accept that stillness and peace and quiet are important to your health and well-being, okay, you actually start doing it, what you're going to realize is they are really important to your health and well-being, and then that subconscious chatter pattern is going to have to leave because they don't coexist. They coexist for a while, okay? But eventually, as you get into more practice of stillness, the chatter becomes very powerless. It becomes unable. You're in stillness listening to the chatter. It's not even disturbing your stillness. And then after a while, you don't even have it anymore. So what you're in is you're in the initial stages of awareness around how important meditation and calming your mind the initial stages. There's nothing wrong with it. You're realizing that you're not doing it. You're realizing that it's important. You're building awareness. You're building inertia. You get it? That's where you start meditating. See, people think you start meditating when you sit and you begin meditating. You begin meditation with the awareness that meditation is necessary, that it's something you need to begin entering into your life. And that's why people that think meditation starts when you meditate, they suffer an incredible fear of failure, and they get very frustrated with meditation because they feel like, well, I've tried to meditate a bunch of times and it hasn't worked. You're missing the beginning of meditation. The beginning of meditation is the awareness that I would feel better if I had some stillness in my mind, if I just sat. That could take you years of realizing that before you even can get to the point where you can sit down. But if you see that as the trail that leads to that, you understand, and you don't see it as, I'm not doing it, I can't make time for it. No, recognize that is the beginning of meditation.
Something really just clicked for me. It's like when I finally was ready to give up sugar. It's like that. Because when I was finally ready, I just went through Halloween at the office without a problem. And candy corn used to be my downfall. It's no longer my downfall. I had to catch myself there. But when I was ready to stop sugar, it was the first time I came to see you. And so, but the buildup was the thought about it for the longest time. So thank you, I get that.
You get it? So again, no matter where you're at in the process, as soon as you start proclaiming something has a beginning and an end, you're screwed. You're screwed because then you're locked in. You're in the middle of a process. Just be aware of the part of the process that you're in. Are you ignorant? Are you awakening? Or are you in a conscious state of following a path? Okay, and we can be in all those things throughout any moment of life. But in terms of meditation, you're in the awakening state. You're not ignorant. You're not denying that meditation and calming your mind is important and good for you. You're awakened. You're in the process of letting that awakening build in you to where it becomes a habit in your mental. And then after a while, when it's important enough in your mental, then it'll start to become a habit in your physical. And then once it's a habit in your physical reality, then all of a sudden it holds a space. It has a life. It requires attention. It's valuable. And then it grows. It's life. It's birth. It's conception. You conceived, right? You're pregnant with this notion that this is something you want to develop, okay? We apply this whole life process, this whole process of birth and death, we apply it to having children, things living and dying. It's such a small view. Everything is going through this process. Everything is going through this process of conception and coming into life. Some things abort out. They don't quite make it. They come back again. They get a little farther. It's all about what is life ready to develop, maintain, and bring into conception, life, and existence. So just witness the phase that something's in, okay? You're in the conception phase. You're trying to get pregnant with a meditation practice, aren't you? But it's not holding. You're trying to have intercourse with it. You're trying to be with it, but it's just not compatible yet. Well, don't be frustrated with the partnership. It's a little awkward. You're just getting to know each other. Spend some time with it. Don't try and get in bed together right away. Spend time just being with it, contemplating it, experiencing it, and then it'll start to come together, and you'll want to spend more time together. It's just about having a relationship. It's not about making something happen.
Is there other ways to still the mind outside of meditation? Like for some people, maybe, yard work or
Sure.
cooking.
Yeah, there's meditate. The big thing is to be in a meditative space is to put yourself in a position, even if it's an activity, okay, where you're not thinking. Or if you're doing yard work, you're doing something like a lot of things that help people meditate is they get into a very routine activity. Like they walk or they do yard work. They do something that's very autonomic, very easy. And that kind of preoccupies that part of their mind that wants to be chatty and kind of gives it something to do. You know what I mean? It's like you have a little kid in the room, you give him a toy so you can sit and talk with the adults. You give an activity to that part of your brain that gives it something to do so that you can have an adult moment. So It's a wonderful tool, and that's why I tell people to start when they're meditating. I say, just go walk. Just start walking. Just go walk. Knitting. Yeah, all those things are very therapeutic. Okay, very therapeutic.
I remember you reminding me of a very first couple meetings that we had when I came here, and I was getting ready to go do. It was a crash course, basically. What I'm thinking about is how my life wasn't manageable at the time, and I was getting ready to do this. It's basically a 4-day meditation, but the way that you put it at the time, it kind of made my mind go. But I keep filling in the blank, and you made me fill in the blank again today. And what it is, you says you're going to do something full time that you only do part time, and I couldn't figure out you didn't tell me what that was. So I initially said it was acceptance, which was a part of it. Then I said it was surrender, which was a part of it. But really, it was the stillness for those 4 days that, most people don't get a chance to do. But regardless of whether it takes, I do it on a 4-day crash course to get to that point, or whether it takes 10 years to get to that point.
Or you do it in the tank.
Or you do it in the tank. It's, again, I still don't, even after those, I've done it multiple times now up to this point, I know what the feeling's like to be in that stillness finally, but I still feel like I'm kind of like where you're at. I still have trouble finding that moment, that time during the day, unless I go into nature and I stay present to find that stillness.
And something like when I was first starting out just with the whole concept of meditation at all, and like you were saying, first it was like, in my mind then, way back when it was, was I willing to? But then the actual, like when I got to the point where it's time to actually sit down and practice, it was 4 minutes. Okay, that's fine. That was 4 minutes. I saw, and I place to build from. Everyone's got to start somewhere. And then I saw this one video with a Buddhist monk explaining meditation. He said, breathe in, breathe out. You're meditating. And it's like, so it doesn't, I was incredibly grateful that I could schedule in my time to have 2.5 hours. I'm also actively preparing for, going out west and doing what I need to do without becoming part of the circus that's out there. We'll just put it that way. And so I know I wanted to go deeper into the stillness. It's like preparation, solidifying, and just reaffirming, like, this is the place where I live. But it doesn't have to be 2.5 hours. It doesn't have to be an hour. It could be a day. It could be a week. It could be 5 minutes. Yeah.
One other suggestion, and it may work. I'm sorry. One other suggestion. It may work. It may not work. I have found that once I get my day started, it becomes harder to do that. So I have 2 meditation times during the day. One is when I first wake up. And even if that means getting up, going to the bathroom, and coming back to bed, it is meditation time. And if I don't do it, it screws up the whole day. But then at night, it may be a very limited time because I'll fall asleep before I get much into it. But it's the state of mind that you're clearing the mind both in the morning and at night. So you sleep well, but you also get rid of anything because of the stillness for the day. So you're not carrying those things over. So, and even just a few minutes, if you need to set an alarm, you set an alarm for a few minutes earlier just to allow you to do that. And you'll never miss that time because it's a very peaceful time.
Great idea.
So that just leads us into our last reflection question, which is, and again, let's be honest about the process. We will always all be coming back and practicing stillness, breath, just being. It's not something that the goal is not to do it. The goal is to love the experience, to love it whether it feels comfortable, to love it whether it was frustrating, to just be with however it is, however you are, and sit with it. And when you can allow that comfort with just how you are, that is meditation. Now meditation that we're talking about initially is the meditation to clear your mind, come to stillness, okay? But the meditation that you'll end up practicing in your day-to-day life is the one I'm talking about. To just be still with how you are. To be okay with how you are in that moment. To be a healthy, loving witness of your current state of consciousness. It's a much more awake way to experience life.
That's a tough thing for someone who is her own worst self-critic and always wanting to be an achiever. It's really kind of a bad combination.
Yeah.
It's because I judge myself because I feel like I'm not doing it right.
Right. And again, we always just remember that, any judgments we make of ourselves, it's good to have honest feedback on your own system, but, it's always unlimited data. It's really always judging ourselves based on limited data. So as seriously as you may take your judgments of yourself, always remember the data you're basing your judgment on is probably flawed, okay, or with a bunch of evidence absent.
We're biased.
Yeah, so it just is what it is. I'm not saying that self-monitoring, reflection isn't valuable. It's good. Just remember, it's not absolute. Although we come back to this again and again, is the foundation that enables us to stay alive, for us to heal. In this vein, in regards to drinking enough water, eating nutrient-rich foods, sleeping when tired, moving our bodies, taking time to be still, it's always important that we look at these as like these pillars, and we just revisit them. We just revisit where we're at with these basic pillars of life. What can we do to make them stronger? What can we do to embrace more flexibility in them? If we're becoming too rigid with our food, we need to become more flexible. Again, if we look at the natural structures that truly support, that stand the test of time and are dynamic. Okay, so that doesn't include, rock is dynamic, but not so much it's not a living structure. Okay, in many cases, there'll be people that'll have a problem with that. But the point of it is that a tree is a great example of a structure that is fully alive, fully present, well grounded, rooted, and lives for a long period of time for the most part, unless it's disturbed. Okay, and that's because it has good structure, but it has flexibility. It has the ability to move when stressed to a great degree, but yet maintain its form. It has the ability to stay grounded, but yet move in directions that it needs to move. So when change, it has the ability to change, has the ability to surrender, to trust, to endure. It's a wonderful life form to just learn from. And so we want to have pillars, okay? We want to have pillars that support our well-being, but we also want to check the quality of those pillars. We want to make sure that it's not too stiff, not too brittle, that it's flexible and strong, has the ability to change and evolve. So just evaluate these aspects of your life as you go along. So I don't know how this is going to apply to our class tonight, or if it will, but I said something to a patient this week that I have to admit, when it was said, we both just kind of sat there. So I want to just share it. And it was that the illusion of control is the soil in which the seed of worry and concern is planted. That without the illusion of control, there's no basis for worry and concern to grow. But that soil that you create for the worry and the nervousness, it's all based on the illusion that you have control over far more than you have control over. So if you can continue to let go of the illusion of control of events and simply focus on the only thing you really have control over is how you are with what is in this moment, you can eliminate that soil. And when you eliminate that soil, then you eliminate the possibility for worry and nervousness and over-concern to grow. So it's one to ponder. It's a good one. I've sat with it for the week so far. It continues to show its truth. So enjoy that one. So So, oh, yeah, okay. I remember now. So, last time we were talking about the attention deficit pattern, and we were talking about the mind of God, remember? And I was starting to get in and talk about how it is to give up control over your thoughts and to allow yourself to receive thoughts instead of always being one that generates thoughts. And the interesting part about when you allow your stillness to increase and you start to receive thoughts, you start to receive information instead of generating information, is you have to be ready to be wrong about everything you thought you were right about. This is the path of the true intuitive. They're willing to give up their own thoughts and ideas. They're willing to give up being convinced about anything and be open to everything. And they're willing to be open to everything, not so that they can be right, not so that they can prove somebody else wrong, no. Simply to be open is the goal. To receive information that brings change. The experience is such, though, that what the practice teaches us, which is true, is that when we're open to receive information that brings change, the first person that brings change to is the one that's receiving the information. So when I was opening up to more information, and again, the basic reason I continue to open up for more information is because I want to be more of an instrument that can bring about healing and order and change in the world. That's the intention that I hold every day. So as you receive this information, you start to realize that you are not a who. Okay? You're the what. And what's not a question. Okay? It's a descriptive word. Really, you are the manifesting what. Okay? You are not the who. Okay? That's a big shift.
It's hard to even wrap your mind around.
That's right. That's right. Because to accept that you're the what means that all the programming, all the thoughts, everything that you have built into you that's based in you being someone, it all ends up being put into a lower level of priority, importance, and truth. So what does that mean, What does that mean when you say you're the what? It means you're it. You're it. What were you before you were you? What were you before you were a you? Okay? You were it. What does that mean? Okay? Well, what it means is that you were once made of something without form. You were once formless. Based on what we call form.
And that was the what.
That's the what.
And the who is what we become.
It's what we become. But we're still the what.
We lose the what.
No.
Or who's on first?
What we lose is, we lose the truth. The truth is we're the what, being a who. The truth is not we're a who, trying to get to the what. We can never not be the what. We are the what. Everything is the what. What that does is, as much as it starts to spin your head or create confusion or whatever you might be feeling or experiencing as I'm telling you this, what it's doing is it's liberating you. It's liberating you. It's creating doubt and confusion where there should be doubt and confusion. but it's creating peace and stillness where there really is peace and stillness.
Is that why it makes me nervous to
Yes.
think about it?
Yes,
I've got butterflies right now.
That's
I don't
right.
even know why.
that's right.
But is that also part of letting go of the ego? How does that relate to that? Because what you're saying makes a lot of sense of letting go of the ego, but I think it's going further than just letting go of the ego.
Yes.
Okay.
It's realizing that the ego was a complete manifestation. It's an illusion.
Okay.
We created an ego as a part of the illusion of being a who.
But the world also helped create that
Well,
ego.
well,
Right, the world is.
well,
The world is an illusion,
yeah.
but as a
but
a new baby.
humanity,
Mhm.
okay, humanity as a species has evolved into that. We believed that we needed to be something greater than we were.
So humanity evolved into the ego,
Yeah,
and, okay, then that makes sense, but it was the relationship of that.
right?
Okay.
So when we were creatures of the earth, okay, when we hadn't separated ourselves
So
from,
you're going way back.
oh yeah, when we hadn't before we separated ourselves from the essence of what we were, okay, when we were reliant, committed, in unity with nature,
We were all part of it,
we were all a part of it.
and nature came over it.
Nature came from what we did. So when I say you're the what, okay, you are nature. So I'm going to use words, but don't forget what I've said. Everything is, okay? This is a wonderful revelation that was just put right into me. It's beautiful. It's so simple. You're a life form. You're just a life form. Don't make such a big deal of it. If you can just accept that you're just a life form, no different than anything else, it makes it so much simpler. Because in not trying to be human, in not trying to be over-intellectual, in not trying to prove it all, in not trying to be so intelligent, or quite honestly, full of shit, you can just enter into that space of humility and say, as I've said many times, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And I can admit I don't know what's going on. So now that I can completely admit I don't know what's going on? And you start to receive information that says things like, well, you're just a life form. You're just a what? You're just manifesting life form. You're making a big deal out of it. You're all overthinking it. You're just a form of life. You're being grown on the planet. You're a crop.
So you're just really being,
That's it.
Yeah.
okay? You're being, and you're in the flow. And where you entered, you have no idea when you're going to exit that either.
That's it. Because even if you exit the room, you never exit the building.
Because you're still out there in the flow.
You are.
Okay.
And this reminds me of some of our early discussions in this class about being enough.
Right.
If I'm just a what, I'm enough. I
You
don't
have to be.
have to be more than that
Right.
because
You just be.
When you get to that place of just being as it is, but be in awe and love.
Okay. Right.
Be-
An honor.
because what is it that we're a part of to begin with?
Everything.
There's no answer.
Right. So there's no need to be anything more than that.
So what happens is and this just, the reason I'm going this deep into this is it ties into everything that we've been talking about, of course, okay? These pillars, being aware, being focused on what you need to do, your rest, your water, okay? When you accept you're a life form, when you don't aggrandize what you are, and you accept the humility of just being a life form, the innate priority of being a life form becomes immediately evident. You get that? Once you just know you're a life form, then there's no choice that you have to be in harmony with nature. You have to have the adequate minerals. You have to have the right food. You're a life form. Once you're not above it, you embrace it.
But it's all a matter of survival. If you don't have those things, you are not going to be able to flow with the rest of it.
Exactly. But when you accept that that's what you are, and therefore those are the basic requirements. The tree isn't saying, I can do without the sun today. You know, it's raining. It doesn't go, you know, I'm going to close my leaves. I'm not thirsty today. I'll get the rain the next time it comes. You know, nothing else in nature makes such insane decisions about what's obvious, but humanity.
Autonomy.
Because it thinks it's something other than what it is. There's no other I mean, I've looked at this from a lot of different angles, and I could be completely wrong. I can always be completely wrong. That's what I love about what I am. I can be completely wrong. But I can't, I've looked at it a bunch of different ways and wondered, why is there such a resistance to such obvious things? Like, why? How can there be such a resistance to such innate, God-given knowledge, wisdom? It's because we don't think we're what everything else is. The rules don't apply. We can do whatever we want.
We see ourselves as separate.
We have free will. We can do whatever. No, as soon as you embrace that you're a life form, that you are literally tied to the same things that every other life form is tied to, it's a relief. It's a relief. You accept your inevitable passing, you accept your inevitable rebirth, you accept everything that nature tells us. You become a form of nature, and you become instantly harmonized with that and the needs and requirements of every other life form. Oxygen. If you're not a plant, to rid your body of carbon dioxide, to bring in oxygen, to be hydrated, to just have basic, like to build cellular structure, like all the things you need to do to be a life form.
Not to be an achiever, you have to make X dollars.
Right.
Create that new, you know, rate that new world or
Yeah.
build that house or.
So in that meditation deficit, no attention deficit, you do what you said, just staying, trying to stay alive, but relinquishing control. Because
Right.
you could be a tree and there could be a hurricane, you're wiped out.
Right.
So there's no control.
No. And trying to stay alive
You just want to try and stay alive.
happens, you know, and I want to make sure when we describe trying to stay alive, we're using these words, but actually when you embrace just being a life form, there's no sense of urgency. You know, it's not true. If you're missing food or water, okay, and you have to, for some people that are, so for some, we'll start calling, for some life forms on the planet, whether they're human or animal, we don't need to just delineate between human life forms and animal life forms, okay? Excuse me. You start looking for water if you don't have water. You start walking around. You start doing what you have to do because that takes priority. You're a life form. The fact that we don't make it a priority is so unhealthy. It means we're literally separating from
But
truth.
that also goes back to the connection to self-care.
That's right.
Because one of our primary responsibilities as a what is to survive, and we're not there to become extinct.
Right.
So in order to do that, you have to, the primary needs are the self-care needs.
That's right. Right. It's not selfish.
No, and that's, and the only thing that was going through my head, and I don't want to offend anybody by saying this, but a lot of what has happened to humanity over time is the structure of the control of different levels of society.
Agreed.
And they basically want the human beings who aren't in control to be subservient, so they're dependent upon the people who are in control for the basic needs. I mean, in the world today, it's water.
Yeah.
I mean, water, if you have water, you control life. And even in the United States, water being taken away by corporate America from people, people just don't think there's anything wrong with that. You've got to pay the bill. Well, no, this is a basic life form. And if you don't have water, you can't exist.
All these things are going to continue. Okay, the reality is that, and I've talked about this in our classes, I've talked about it to many of you, that the human species is in an unsustainable place. Okay? And it's because it's forgotten it's a life form. Period. It's forgotten that basic notion. And it may say, well, of course we know that. Knowing it, when you know it, the behavior shows you know it. Knowing it intellectually doesn't change a darn thing. It's, are you behaving knowing that you're that life form?
I think that hubris. I think what happened is we evolved with this cerebral cortex that allowed us to have hubris and to say that we have dominion over animals and the earth, and that is where we went wrong. And my feeling is, and I'm not that sad about it, is I think the earth is going to shake us off. We're going to go. And the animals and the trees and a lot of it will stay, and maybe some other thing will evolve. Because I think, I don't want to be so dooms oriented, but the way things are going, I think we're going to mess it up and become extinct.
Well, remember, we're an experiment. You know, we're one of many life forms, okay? We're one of many crops being grown in the garden, okay? And so we're being grown in this garden, okay? And we're an experiment. We don't. And within the species, there's experiments. So when you realize you're a life form being cultivated, and you realize that there's different species of human beings that are being cultivated, and like any other crop, at some point, the natural selection is going to bring the ones forward that are healthy for the garden and going to eliminate the ones that aren't. That at some point, and this is what it's, in the selection process, as I'm being shown it comes down through a place of consciousness. So the higher power is the higher power. And at a certain point, if you continue to behave in a constant incongruency with the laws of nature, the higher laws, the highest laws, you will be removed.
Well, it's not a coincidence that we started to mix it up more and the balance has gone off the fullest today.
I really would start to step away from the whole notion of we messed it up. I'd really start to step away from that. This is just the way it goes.
Right.
So with the enlightenment that we're at, where we are the what, and then working. So it's almost like for now, until we become the what again, we are working to undo the who, until the who and the what are either the same or until we're just the what.
Exactly.
And to me, that brought to mind the role of identity, and how if our sense of creating an identity is out of balance with the what, then a lot of this stuff is going to become problematic.
Going
So
back
it's
to
like-
the, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Going back to the heart connection again, which is the main connection. So when the power of love overcomes the love of power, then there will be more balance and stillness as it should be.
And when you accept the truth, which is you're just a life form, okay, you can't have a lot of power. I mean, you can kid yourself, but you're a life form. You're something that's been created. You're just that. When you embrace that, we talked about a lot of different ways to increase your intuition. But when you embrace that simple truth about what you are, a lot of the mysteries of the universe become shown to you.
And I have to just sit on what's going in my head, but if you look at life forms, the life forms in the 14 billion years of the universe they've gone away. And the fittest survive or develop out of that. And that's where we're at now, because there is a school of thought, we're going through a cataclysm right now. And whether we survive it or whether we don't, nobody knows how long it's going to take. But it has happened to other life forms. I mean, the dinosaurs, and the rest of, all of that.
Everything.
Yeah, so it's what you were talking about is cataclysm is out there. We don't know, it's happened before. We just don't know if and when it's going to happen again. But it happened to other life forms.
It happens. It isn't even if, it's when. So it makes sense that if we're practicing to be, again, all these words start to just become adjectives and descriptions. They're not any marker that we're any better than anybody else. But as we practice being enlightened life forms, we begin to align ourselves with nature. This is the whole, as I receive more information and I'm able to be conscious enough to understand it enough to even speak about it, practice is so far ahead. It's trying to change behavior of the species to align with being a life form that will give it the best opportunity to pass through. It's a prophetic work. It's about what's really happening that we're waiting for it to happen, but really it's already happening. And we're waiting to become aware of what's already happening to actually be happening. But it's already happening. It's what's happened, it's what the what does. It's what the what does. The what doesn't hide that it does this. The what does this with everything we have a history of looking at. Every life form, every aspect of life, every tree, this is what the what does. So, to see yourself as anything other than a life form going through the process of life and making a priority to align yourself with that process through stillness, through healthy food, through just practicing, treating other people in the species as best as you can. Just to let life force know, I get it. We have no imaginable concept of what that actually is doing. How it's really leading to us being in a healthier, happier space. We don't have any, but as those of us who practice it more and more, okay, and Jan and I had a wonderful visit when she came to see me this week for her birthday. Happy birthday, Jan. That we do have enough data that says, if I do this, if I behave this way, and we call it the practice, but if I accept these truths and I let my life be guided by them, not only do I start to feel better, not only does my body start to heal, not only does my matter within my life form start to become obedient and organized by a higher power, but things around me begin to change. Life forms around me begin to change and start to move in a direction that I am embracing as I do this. And that's, again, the practice talks about that.
Well, you're allowing yourself as what you are to assimilate back into nature.
That's it. Which is the end of the book, the end of the book where it talks about, one within the one. And really that oneness that we get back to in this space of stillness. You get back to being the what. So when I'm with people and I'm with them as the what, okay, I'm no longer with them as the who. The ability to transcend, to reach in, to look, to be observant, to be guided, the sense of my intuition, okay, what I once called my intuition, which now I just call the sense of intuition that I experience. You start letting go of mine. It's all, everything you experience is a sense of life. It isn't owned by you. My sense of vision, my sense of the intuition. It's all my ability to experience something that already exists. If vision didn't exist, we wouldn't have eyes. If sound didn't exist, we wouldn't have ears. It exists before we developed the organ to experience it. Or we wouldn't have developed an organ to experience. So the sense of intuition is greatly, greatly increased, as is the sense of sight, sound, all of the senses. I'm experiencing all of my senses, getting back to a level where I don't want to listen to loud things. I don't want to see a lot of stimulus in my eyes. It's an innate. It just starts to go back to that balance. You are the what? You are operating from a standpoint of who because it gives you a sense of control. With that sense of control, with that illusion, you give the soil for worry and concern and unnecessary emotional reactions to breed within you. Okay? We've been using the practice to weed those things out. Now it's time to get rid of that soil. It's time to use that soil of control and till it into, no, I'm a created life form. I'm divinity. I'm the manifesting energy of God. in a form of life, it is magnificent. What I am is magnificent. Forget who you are. Just focus on what you are. It is magnificent. Sit in that in your stillness. Sit in the what that you are. And let the what that you are be the soil that you draw from. Don't draw energy from who you are. It needs constant fertilization. When you draw from the soil of what you are drawing universal energy, vast, endless energy. You're allowing that to come from the top, down, in, and through you. Be blessed. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Wonderful. You have been in the chamber all night long here. I think all of us that were here that saw you, you could just get love and blessings from everybody all night long. The tribe was in the chamber to begin with. All blessings.
Yes, everything else is.
Everybody have a great night, and it's a lot to think about. I'll be continuing to take you on this journey and expose and experience, share my experiences with you on this, because I think it's really where we all started, and it's where we're all going to end up. It's a lovely place to be.
Thank you.
Maureen has
Being of light and love. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's enough.
It's all we need.
Good night, everybody.